Time kills all gods. This is a notion that helped me deconstruct from Christianity. And I'm sure that when you think about this, it will also help you to deconstruct from Christianity as you go through your journey. I don't know at what time frame in my life that I thought about this, where I thought about the fact that over time, all gods die. If you were to step back from your religion or step back from your indoctrination, step back from what you were taught, and think about it critically, gather all the facts. And what are all the facts? The facts are such. At one point, man believed in the gods of Zeus. Man believed in the god of Odin. Man believed in the gods of the Orishas. Man believed in the gods in China. Man believes in the sky people. Man believed in Quetzalcoatl. There are literally thousands of gods throughout history that man has believed in. And in every belief of their God, they believe that their God was the creator God, the one that created the universe, that created the world. Every religion, whether we're talking about the indigenous of Australia, it doesn't matter. Every society for the last 200,000 years have created their own gods. And their gods created the universe. Then their God created man. Then their God was instrumental in their ancestors' development of civilization and cultivation. And then over time, whether through war, whether through colonization, or whether through a natural progression of thought, each one of those gods died out and was subsequently replaced by a new god. When we just look at some of the pantheons of gods, at first, Zeus wasn't the overseeing god. It was the Titans, it was Chaos, Kronos, it was other deities, and then the story rounds itself out to Zeus becoming the god. And over time, Zeus even fades out of history. Then we have other situations where we're talking about the Sumerians and how there's Anu, but even before Anu, there was Namu. Not the Namu, and Anu and Namu got together and they began to create the universe. But then the story changes 4,000 years later to Tiamat and Marduk are the creators of the earth and the bracelet, the bracelet in the heavens, which is the asteroid belt. There's all different types of creation stories out there. But over time, the stories change, the gods change, the gods die out. In our modern day world, the overwhelming majority of people do not believe in the gods of the Druids. They do not believe in the sky people of the ancient Americans. They don't believe in any of these gods. And now we are stuck with the Abrahamic gods. We're stuck with the Indus god. We're stuck with the Buddhist thought process of the universe, philosophy, not so much a god. We have some who have returned to the Oguns and Oshuns and Mamawatas. And there are small groupings of people that still believe in some of the ancient gods, but for the overwhelming majority, follow one of 5 major religions in the world today. And so I thought about this at some point in my life, that over time, each one of those gods were created by man. And then the story becomes part of society, and enough time goes by where people believe it wholeheartedly and that it is the one true religion until something in the world happens, whether it's climate change, whether it's colonization, whether it is a dictatorship, whether it is just a natural progression of the people walking away from that God and believing in some other God. But it all changes over time. Even in Christianity, if you think about it, God changed. At first, it's the Israelite God who's very instrumental in people's lives. It's the Israelite God who is causing floods and parting seas and causing plagues and telling people to go to war and genocide these people and things of that nature. And then he tries to save them through a flood. He tries to save them through judges. He tries to save them through kings. And none of those things work. And so in the first century, A new version of this God comes out with the advent of Jesus. And now for the last 2,000 years, that has been the teachings of this God. But that God also changed because 600 years after Jesus, here comes Muhammad. And Muhammad tells a different story of this Abrahamic God. Even different from the Jewish version, different from the Christian version, and now there's the Muhammad version. It gets picked up by the leaders of Arab nations in the Levant and eventually sweeps across and takes over the entire Arab nation in North Africa. And he is firmly implanted in the minds of millions, actually billions of people in the world today, this God Allah. And they claim he is the beginning God. And over the next 100 years, 200 years, 1,000 years, these gods too will die. These gods too will go away and they won't exist anymore. They'll only be known as this small cult of people who still believe in Jesus, who still believe in Allah, who still are waiting for the Messiah in the Jewish cult. They'll be waiting, but it'll be a small cult of people. Hell, Judaism doesn't even rank in the top 3 gods that are worshipped, top 3 religions in the world today. So when I thought about that, I recognized that all these gods are man-made. All these gods are created through societal and environmental changes. And if all these gods are created by man and all these gods have lived and died in the minds of man, then none of these gods can actually be the creator if there be a creator. And it's helped me to deconstruct from Christianity because it helped ease my mind and give me peace that there are people who died for Quetzalcoatl. There are people who died believing in Chetju. There are people who have died for every god that has ever been created by man. And all those people live their lives according to the laws, rules, rituals, belief, practices of this God. And yet, none of them are alive today to say that, no, or none of them have come back and say, no, I died in battle and I went to Valhalla. No, I died in battle and I went to Elysium. None of them have ever come back and told that story and given proof. Therefore, all these guys died with the people who believed in that God. And that's it. There's nothing more to it. The only thing we know that is real is the natural environment to which we live in, the mental environment to which we live in. As the Kabbalion says, the universe is mental, and all things in the universe are mental. Mental is also frequency. Thoughts are frequency. Thoughts are energy. So all things in the universe are mental frequencies of energy. Because what you think of today, you can manifest at a later time. And it becomes real in the matter form universe. That is creation. Whether we exist in the mind of the all, or we just exist as energetic beings with a higher complexity of consciousness, the ability to reason. You think about a deer. A deer has no concept of time other than the moon, the sun, and the seasons. It instinctively knows when to mate. It instinctively knows when to eat. And all it's concerned about is survival. It never contemplates its existence beyond that because of the complexity of its mind is not as complex as ours. But we have the complexity that gives us the ability to be able to reason things out. It is almost as if it is a hindrance because then in our reasoning, we create and manifest these different deities. We create and manifest different levels of consciousness. It's an advantage in the effect that we can manipulate our next existence, whereas a deer cannot, because it is basically an instinctive animal. I want you to just think about that and tell me your thoughts. And always remember, you have to free yourself to be yourself because your greatness is non-negotiable. Good journey, good vibrations.